Resting on the 40 acres on campus grounds, we gather round, discussing goals and dreams and life's adventures. The Texas Longhorns, they're the talk of the town. High castles of the 40 acres, where we dive deep into the game day stories. From touchdowns to heartbreakers, we discuss it all. Texas Longhorns glory. There we gather around each Thursday night, talking sports, it's so alright. From football to basketball, baseball to softball, Tim Wayne and Harry, we cover it all. Sports talk is our passion, our delight. Thursday night at 8:30, we unite. We discuss the scores, the plays, the teams you might. Let's dive into the game, let's ignite.
12 conference champions.
Yo, what up, what up? It is the Longhorn Fan Battle Podcast. Of course, my name is Harish. This is my guy, Tim Wayne. Tim Wayne, hey, let me do something real quick. Let me get a mic check. How we sounding? You are now on mute.
A little on the loud side, but we're good.
Oh, see, I would much rather be louder than software.
Right. That's
right.
Good.
Does this sound better though?
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's
we
perfect.
have made it. Last week, if you guys were in here, I sounded like terrible. And we had our guy Corey Mose on here, and it was very difficult to do anything. But we've made it today. We are going to get into it. Today is no Longhorn. Well, we will have some Longhorn talk, but really focused in today on college football 26. As you guys know, well, for those of you guys that don't know, Tim and I are former EA employees, so we worked for EA for a long time. So we're huge fans of the games. We've been fans of this game.
Yep.
We were both kids. We grew up on this game. And you know what makes me the most excited about this game this year?
What's that?
It actually returns to its former glory. And what I mean by that is this game always came out
right
around the time my birthday occurred.
Yep.
And we are now back to that same time period, right?
Right.
This game, I knew it was my birthday week because this game came out. I now again know it's my birthday week because this game comes out 2 days before my birthday. So I will be fully invested. I just told Tim that I'll be taking 3 days off that week.
Yep.
So I will be fully invested in this game. Tim is fully invested in this game. He's still invested in this year's game.
Yes, sir.
I fell off a little bit this year, but after looking at this deep dive, and we'll go through it together, there is so much to talk about. And I think as we look at what happened in last year's game and the foundation that was set, and where we are right now, I think we're in a really solid space, and I think they've done a really good job of growing the game and building. I think a lot of EA games, right? They like to do what I like to call build on top of a broken platform or a broken foundation, right? And the one really cool thing I like about this game this year is last year they set a really good foundation, and they set some building blocks there, right? And I think as you look at, and we'll go through it in the deep dive, as you look at what's going on there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff that's oh, cool. They're taking what they did last year and they're expanding on it. So we'll get into all that, but first off, how are you doing?
Man, I'm good. Listen, I don't know if you know this, but in about a week or so, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we will be celebrating our 3rd year as the Longhorn Fan.
Dude, we will. We will be going into year 3.
We're going into year 3. Yep.
You know what else happens? Next week is our 2nd year in the SEC.
It is our 2nd week in the SEC.
Yeah. Oh, not our 2nd week, our 2nd year.
Oh, 2nd year. I'm sorry. 2nd year in the SEC. That's true. That is true.
You know who the best school in the SEC was this year in our first year?
Georgia.
Come on, Tim Wayne, you're killing me, bro. The best athletic program in the conference.
Oh well, us. We won the cup.
Exactly. We won both. Not only did we win the National Directors Cup for the fourth time in 5 years. Nobody's counting though, right? Especially A&M fans, they're not counting.
Right. Chris, take a picture.
Right, but yeah, we also won the SEC Directors Cup.
Yeah.
And do you know how close it was, Tim?
Probably not by much. It was probably unanimous.
It wasn't close at all. I think we won the SEC Directors Cup by like 100 points or something.
Jeez.
Yeah. So hey, but again, nobody's counting. So,
nobody's.
I was just throwing it out there. I'm not really like keeping track of it or anything.
Nobody. Yeah.
Also, by the way, shout out to the Directors Cup Twitter page. That guy who keeps that stuff up.
Yeah.
Like that's a different level of insane. So shout out here. Let me see if I can find that site. Here I'll find the Twitter page. I want you guys to go follow this guy. Super cool guy. I've had a couple conversations with him, but it's at direct_cup dates. CUPDATES. He is the Directors Cup guy. He's the guy on Twitter or X or whatever platform you want to call it. Elon's broken AI, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
He's the guy that updates almost like weekly, I think, like from the beginning of the athletic season to the end, the Directors Cup updates. So go follow him. Tim Wade's doing great. I'm doing awesome. Before we get into it, let's do what we always do. Pay some bills here. FanBattleSports.com. For those of you guys that don't know, we are brought to you by FanBattleSports.com. FanBattleSports.com, where you can get the latest and greatest from the AFC South, including the Colts, the Texans, who are the other teams in this division? The Titans and the Jaguars. That's right. I always forget about those two teams.
Yeah. Wow, I don't understand. They've been dog walking for a minute now.
The Titans haven't beaten the Colts in 3 years. I don't know what you're talking about.
But what about the Texans?
I said the Texans. I forgot the Jaguars.
The Jaguars always have your number.
In Jacksonville.
That's half of your games. Half of your season.
Shut up, Tim.
Oh.
Go. You know what? Go win a playoff game. How about that?
We did win a playoff game. We just haven't won one recently.
In like the last 10 years.
What are you talking about? We dog walked Tampa Bay. What are you talking about?
When?
We sent Tom Brady home, dog. We sent Tom Brady packing.
That was like 10 years ago.
That was not 10 years ago.
Tom Brady's been retired since like 2020.
Tom Brady has retired. You forgot Tom Brady came back in 2020, won the Super Bowl in 2020, and played 2 more years and retired in 2023.
Anyway.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. He retired.
Oh, yeah, he did retire.
This would come back in 2023, and then he retired in 2023. We beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2023.
That's insane. Anyway, FanBattleSports.com. Also, if you're interested in starting your own show, fill out go click on the contact us sheet, fill out the stuff there. Let us know. We'll set you up with your own show, just like this one. Get you everything you need. FanBattleSports.com. Alrighty, Tim. Actually, before we do that real quick, follow us on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're on the TikToks live right now, smash that like. What is it? Is it double tap? Is it smash? Like what do people do on the TikTok world for TikTok live?
Like the live.
There you go.
And then make sure y'all share it. Please.
Oh yeah, use that big old repost share button.
Yep.
We'll comment in there if you have any questions while we go through this deep dive. It's 76 pages. We probably won't go through all 76, but we probably will just kind of touch on everything. And of course, for those of you guys that don't already on the AI platform known as Twixter. That was awkward. All right, Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Longhorn Fan Battle, as you can see down there in the ticker. At LH Fan Battle, almost at 3,000 followers on there, which is kind of insane if you think about it.
We were right.
We'll keep that going. So, yeah. Alrighty, Tim. I'm going to share my screen, and let me know if you can see this.
Okay.
35 seconds. Hold on. Here we go. We're going to share this tab. Can you see this?
Yes.
Excellent. For those of you guys on the Twitter board, on the TikTok boards, I hope you
share it. You got to share it to the.
You gotta share it. Share what? You can't see it.
I mean, I can see it privately, but you haven't shared it to. You haven't shared it to the public.
Oh, that's weird. Hold on. Oh, I think it might be a weird scene thing. Hold on. Let me. Hold on. I think if this will do this, right?
Yep.
No. Whoa. No. Wait. How do I share a screen? Well, that's weird. Hold on a second. I don't want to create a pro screen. Oh, there we go. Hey. Oh. There we go. Okay. Nope. I don't want to do that or that. Let's just do this.
Go back there. That's too small, bro. Can't nobody see that. There we go.
Is this good? Let me see what this looks like.
Yeah, just
get
rid of the banner.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. You guys know where to follow us at, and you'll see the ticker down there. So, all right, Tim, here we go. The Dynasty.
Before we get started with that, what were your initial reactions on the trailers that you've seen so far? What are your thoughts? Give me just a quick.
Are you talking about the game or just the franchise or the Dynasty mode?
Just from a consumer standpoint.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on what they presented to the general public?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of touched on that before we got started. Here's the thing. Like when you start a franchise, right, or you reboot a franchise or whatever, the most important thing is that you build a solid foundation.
1,000%.
Right.
Yep.
And I thought EA for the first time in a very, very long time in all their franchises did an excellent job of creating a really good foundation for this game. Yep. I thought College Football 25 was really good.
Yep.
It looked like a game they actually spent 3 years working on. It helps that you only have one base code to create, right? You don't have a lot of restrictions because your budget is kind of big when it comes down to it, because it's like you've got a 3-year development cycle. Your budget's kind of large. And for those of you guys that don't understand development cycles, right? Basically, what will happen now that the game is now on a yearly cycle, right? So what will happen is back in November of last year, you usually start this about 6 to 7. Actually, you probably started out like as soon as the game releases, right? You're already thinking about the next cycle.
Yeah, for sure.
And you start to say, what are the things we want to do in this game and for next year, right? And you'll sit there and you'll say, okay, well, I want these big things to happen, right? And they'll say, I want to build the trophy room. I want to expand on this. I want to create high school and RTG. Like these are like big projects that they want to accomplish, right? Now, you don't just go in there and just start coding the next day, right? Like you've got to plan these out and you've got to say, now we've got to build this out over the next, year, but we have to cut it off by this date because we need to be ready to start testing. Generally 3 months before launch, right? So this game came out and comes out in July. Usually about like by March and April, they have to be done, right? They've got to be done. They've got to be ready. They've got to be ready to roll, right?
Yeah. Trailers
come out, deep dives come out, marketing, like all that stuff happens about 3 months before the game comes out. Right. So that plan has to be set in place. So really, they really only have from July to give or take what?
February,
maybe. So like basically the entirety of the season to really plan and develop what they want. And they don't get an unlimited amount of resources because really from July to like December, you're still also currently working on the current game.
Right.
right? Bug fixes, patches, hot fixes,
Content drops.
live content,
Yeah.
right? Like there's all these things that go into making these games these days that didn't exist 10
Mhm.
years ago, right? So I think it's really important to understand. So from that perspective, it's really important that they set a solid foundation.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a great job. And looking through this deep dive, the gameplay one and this one, I think they're doing a great job of building on top of that foundation.
I
What do you
1000%.
think?
So I, just from again being a part of the video game industry, understanding what it takes for these guys to come out, and for you guys and it kind of give you guys a little bit more to pull, the more of the curtain back for you. A lot of these guys, when they do pump out this content, the content that you're going to be seeing for the first at least month and a half is already set in stone. It's the chances of it changing is few and far in between unless something happens where they break the game and like Harish says that a hot fix or something of that nature, where something has to be addressed. But that game is live right now. There's people on them servers right now playing that game. That game is gold. That game has been gold for probably about a month now. The only thing that they needed to do is probably adjust some ratings. But the content that you're going to see for Madden and college football, because they both come out within the next 2 months, is not gonna change. They're going to be more focused on making sure that this game isn't broke, and the influx of people that are going to be on these servers within the next 2 weeks. The amount of people that are going to be on these servers are going to be insane. And at one point in time last year, we were looking at the servers. There was like 900,000 people on the server in one area. That was just one area because it breaks it down by region. But anyway, what I'm seeing again is, what I'm excited about is again building on the foundation that has already been laid. I'm still playing college football 25 actively. I've been playing at least. I've tried to get at least one match, maybe two. Sometimes I'm not able to, but I at least still like turn the game on, check to see what kind of live Ultimate Team content's up there, and so forth. I'm still actively playing this game. We're still, well, you are not. You have been removed, but currently we are still in a dynasty that is active right now, and we're in season 9. So, it just goes to show to me on how great the game is. Now, there's some things that I'm excited about, and we'll cover it in the deep dive. But from what I've seen so far, I'm truly excited, and I'm so glad that that one year, what that was at 2021 when we were supposed to get the game, they canceled the game because they said that they wanted to put more focus on it. They wanted to put more. Because originally it was going to come out for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. I'm so glad that they pulled back, said we're going to hold on to this, and we're not going to worry about these previous consoles. I'm so glad, because now you have an opportunity to put all of your eggs in this next gen basket, or this current gen basket, with the Series X and a PS5. I think in this case, if this was a situation where these games were being made on both of these systems, PS4 and PS5, One and X, I don't think these games would be in depth or have as much detail as they are currently. It just wouldn't happen. They wouldn't have the time.
Yeah. Also, they wouldn't have the capacity, right?
Yeah.
The game, the machines wouldn't have the capacity.
Yeah.
Right. The technology in the current gen consoles, and I would not be surprised, just based on what I've been reading, if we get the next console announced next year for Xbox anyway.
Well, yeah. Xbox. Yeah, Xbox is. Xbox is swinging for the fences right now.
Yeah, they're on 10-year
I'm
life
actually,
cycle, right?
I'm actually
So,
loving it, and Sony has been not too hot. I mean, outside of Death Stranding 2, by the way, did you get that?
no,
Okay.
I didn't finish the first one, and I'm not going to have time to play the second one anytime soon.
Right. I mean, if y'all haven't obviously known, we are gamers. We've been in the video game industry for quite some time. That's how we met. This game is why you have this right now. We've been playing this game since 2010.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is insane when you think about it. But we've been going at it, and holding up a dynasty for over 15 years. So
Yeah.
Jumping into that deep dive, what are some things that you wanted to point out there, Harish?
I think high level, there's a lot of quality of life changes on this thing, right? Let's talk about. I don't even like building your coach. That's like deep. Like, couple things. Number one, you could see there's real life coaches, right?
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin's in the game.
Yeah.
Now, not only are there real life coaches, there's real life
assistants,
right? Defensive coordinator Kyle Flood's in the game.
Yep.
Shout out to Kyle Flood, best offensive line coach in the country.
Hell yeah.
PK's in the game, right? Like these guys are in the game, and so I think that's something to call out. The customization in this game is better than it's ever been before.
Absolutely, 1000% agree.
Like,
I would think that was one of the weaker points on this past game is the lack of customization for your coaches.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad thing, right? Like,
no,
again, you gotta build on top of something, right? And building on top of coaches. There we go. I think it's a little bit better view. Building on top of like coaches, and that whole thing I think is important. And I think while you're bringing in real coaches, this is like the time to really build that foundation with those coaches to say, you know what, we're bringing in real life coaches. Let's try to make these coaches as like visible to each other as we can.
Yeah.
Right. For those of you nerds out there, right? Coach progression has changed a lot. This is the stuff that we're interested in. You go last year, you get to level 50. You can get to level 50 in like 2 or 3 years, like honestly. And this year, it's a level 100 now, and it takes longer to accomplish levels. But then also, you have to be a little bit more strategic around where you put your coach your skill points, right? So you look at the coaching trees. You're still going to have your 3 main base coaching trees, right? You're going to have recruiter, you're going to have strategist, and then you're going to have tactician, right? Sorry, recruiter, motivator, tactician, right? Now, there's 2 changes. Last year, you would pick who you wanted when you started, right? This year, you have to actually get to level 10 on your coach before you even pick where you want to go. And I again, it adds a level of strategy, but it also says it's like starting a new. Did you ever find, like, as you read through this, it's almost like they thought about this as if you're like really starting a new job?
Yeah.
Right. It's like at the end of the day, this whole coach thing, it's an RPG, right?
Exactly.
It is an RPG at the end of the day. Yep. Skill trees, classes. You have a strategist class. You have a recruiter class, right? Yeah. Like it's an RPG at the end of the day, right? Yeah. They just call it their own fancy name. But I thought it was really, really cool. And then as you build into a specific skill tree, going further and further down, right? You then will either progress and get bigger bonuses by going up the same skill tree, or you have to spend more if you want to go down a different skill tree at a different point in time.
Yeah.
So I just think that whole thing was a great change.
Right.
And I think it should, like, and I was explaining to like our group chat the other day, it's like when you're at a job and I'm going to use this reference all the time, right? When you're at a job and you learn a skill and you continue to advance on that skill, it's normal to continue to grow at a certain skill. Like that's what you do, right? It is harder to learn a new skill. Therefore, it should take more time, or in this case, cost more money to go a completely different way.
Right.
I thought this was an awesome change. What do you think?
Yes. And the reason why I feel that way is because it gives you an opportunity to, like you said, you can either stay the course and you can continue to build off your coach, whatever you currently have right now, whatever role you want to play, right? Or you can take the risk and really kind of venture off and see what else you can do with your coach, which is very, very dope. I felt like that was a little. I felt like that was a little lacking last year. You know, there's some good. There was some good coaching abilities in there, and I thought that there was some really dope opportunities for them to kind of maximize on those. But if you didn't if I still have skill points that I haven't used because I can no longer use them.
Right.
So I should be able to utilize all of the skill points there. I feel like I should, even if I'm taking the wrong turn, like I should be able to utilize that. And that, I feel like that is kind of like being able to have more of an opportunity to kind of branch off and look into other things kind of gives you the opportunity to spend majority of your points that you may have left over.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's really, really cool. So coach skill trees for you nerds out there that care about all that stuff. Very, very cool. Coach abilities, archetypes, same kind of thing, right? As you go into each skill tree, right? It costs X amount of skill points to do something,
right?
But then you also get bigger rewards for investing essentially in your career, right? Like as you progress in your career in life, if you go down the same path, the things that you do will reap bigger rewards, right? So kind of the same concept. As you get further and further in different skill trees, you're going to get bigger and better rewards. I think two things that were called out here that I thought was really cool is in the there's two skill trees. I think it was the talent developer skill tree. Yep, here you go. It's always easier to learn a new skill set when you're working alongside. So it's also going to be important to hire the right assistants, right? That master themselves in various skill trees. But there's two abilities that are called out here that basically are like you can now figure out with certain skills who somebody's like what their current archetypes are, right? Like their strategists and their traits. You can figure that out sooner if you invest yourself in a specific skill tree, which again, very, very cool. You get distinct advantages by investing, but then you don't get those advantages in that skill tree, but you might get different advantages in a different skill tree by spending more points doing something else. Again, very, very cool. I thought that was really, really sick. I think coaching carousel, I was not a fan of coaching carousel in this year's game. I thought it was probably the most broken part of Dynasty.
Yep.
I didn't think it made sense. I didn't think it worked. I still don't think it works. So I'm curious.
With updates, you don't think it works?
No, I still think it's broken. Here's the thing, and I just did this yesterday, and my I was starting an offline Nebraska Dynasty just to kind of get my feet wet again, right?
Yeah.
Because you kicked me out.
You're not playing. You can come back in. You just need to play.
See, you're getting too deep into this, Tim Wayne. But it won't even matter because I won't even get to go through this part. But anyway, I was going through this part of the Dynasty last night. In my Nebraska Dynasty, right? Because that's just one I wanted to do. I was kind of curious. But when I got to this portion of the coaching carousel portion of the dynasty, the offseason, it didn't make any sense. Like
Okay.
I was getting like offensive coordinator jobs for one school this week, right?
Okay.
And it would be like offensive coordinator at Ohio State or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But then the next week, I was getting head coaching offers at Memphis, and to me, that didn't make sense. If you think about the order of operation, it's if I'm a coach, right? Like in real life,
Right.
why would a high level offensive coordinator role come open or become more available first, right, as an option before a low level head coaching position? So why would I get offered offensive coordinator of Ohio State right off the bat, and then the next week I simulate and do this over again, and all of a sudden I'm a head coach at Memphis? That doesn't make sense to me.
It makes sense to me because it's a simple fact of like the computer or the league in the AI, whatever it is weeding out candidates. So I'm pretty sure your level probably factors into that. How badly you beat the PC or the computer teams, etc. So, you might have a offensive coordinator job at Ohio State, but at Kentucky as well, you were probably number two on the list at Kentucky. You didn't take the offensive coordinator position. The other coordinator that was probably given, or the other person that was given the opportunity to go to Ohio State, probably took it, and then the number one probably did not accept the job at Kentucky, so it moved down to you because you didn't take the you didn't take the OC job.
But what doesn't make sense is here's the way I think this should work. I should know up top. Everybody should know up top what jobs are out there, what jobs are available.
Right.
Because you only have one opportunity to fire your coach.
Right.
There's only one opportunity that the entire dynasty can fire their coach, which I also think doesn't make any sense. Because
you should be able to fire your coach anytime.
At any point, I should be able to fire, like tomorrow, right? Or if I advance a week, I should be able to fire my coach. It doesn't matter if it's like the last week of the portal. Wow. Any point if I'm at training results, a coach should be able to be fired, and then it should trigger coaching carousel. Or maybe it's like in the middle of the season, if a coach is fired, it should automatically like fill that void for the rest of the season.
Right.
With an assistant. Yeah. And then in that off season, it should be like this coach was fired during this time. Like if we're really talking about this being immersive, right?
I think
why do I only get one opportunity to fire my coach?
I truly believe that we are getting to this point. I think it is going to take a while. Honestly, do you remember NFL head coach?
Yes.
I think they really need to go back into that because I think they need to focus on the head coaching aspect of the game. And honestly, I believe that should just be a totally separate game in its own. NFL head coach was probably one of the greatest simulation games ever. We just didn't play it or people didn't play it because you couldn't play as the team, you played as the coach. And the
offense. It was also really hard.
Defense. It is very hard. It is one of the harder games.
Yeah, it was very hard.
1,000% that game is hard. That is not an easy game at all. So with that being said, I really think that there is something to build off of that. Yeah. And maybe they do have an opportunity for you to remove the coach during the season. Maybe he's not doing good. I think that, there's a bunch of other things that factor into that because what happens once a coach gets fired or once a coach transfers, the first thing that we all look for as consumers of college football, well, what's going to happen to the players? Are they going to jump in the portal? Are they going? Are they going to go to another job? We didn't know when Sark got to Austin. I mean, Sark knew, but a lot of people didn't know. it was very, very held close to the chest. Um, we kind of had, you know, we kind of had a heads up on what was going on with the other coaches, but when Sark got there, we had no idea what was going on.
Well, I mean, Sark. It was funny that you mentioned this. Sark he did the third and is it called the Third and Longhorn podcast?
Yep, yep,
Shout out to that podcast. Phenomenal podcast, by the way.
phenomenal.
But Ocho, you all right over there, bro?
Yeet.
What up, Punk?
You
Ocho.
your uncle gone.
Sorry, I got a little off track there. But Sark was talking about like his journey to Austin, right?
Yeah.
I was only like really like putting it together that Sark said he never visited Austin during his entire like
That's
hiring
crazy.
process.
That's
insane to think about. Like his first time coming to Austin was like when he got hired and he landed for the first time, which is insane to think about.
The
I thought that
capital,
was really, really
the
interesting.
capital
Yeah.
of
The
Texas.
capital.
You've
He
never
thought it would look like Lubbock. Which is
I'm not gonna
insane.
lie, when I heard that did piss me off a
I
little
thought
bit.
that was disrespectful.
How did
Why
you
you guys say that?
how did you get Lubbock and
Austin.
Austin in like two? And listen, nothing against Lubbock. I got people that live out in Lubbock.
I know
Yeah,
people that live out
it's
there
Lubbock.
too. Yeah.
There's no way that you could the two of those cities don't even bro. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, being able to remove coaching during the year could be a good thing. But I also
Yeah.
think if you do it, it could negatively impact you. And again, that's just us, you know, looking for the devil in the details, right? Like, that's exactly what we're doing here. We're not, you know, this is a wish list type of thing. I'm
Yeah.
currently happy with what they presented as far as changes in the improvements that they've added to the coaching carousel to make something more realistic is really dope.
And that's why I'm curious about like this line right here. I'm hoping this fixes this because what I just said right now like doesn't make sense, right?
Okay.
Like that scenario and that happened yesterday. We are at a point of this game's life cycle where there will be no more updates to this. So it is what it is. Like when we're talking about college football 25, right? Like there are no more updates to this game.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
And so I'm judging it based off it at its final form, right?
Okay. Which is fair.
So I'm curious to see. It says we've also rebalanced offer logic so that head coaches at top tier programs now receive better and more consistent job opportunities when the carousel spins. This right here is what I'm curious about. If you've earned your spot among the elite, the market will better reflect it, which is exactly what I should happen, right?
Yeah.
If I'm at the number 4 school in the nation and we make the semifinals 3 years in a row, but that school is Memphis,
right?
Every week I should be getting head coaching offers. I should no longer be receiving coordinator offers unless like it's the final week and the logic determines that a filling hasn't been made at like a top tier school.
Yeah.
I should never see a coordinator option as a head coach. Now, I might see like a Memphis and I might pick that over like a Kansas, right? Like, okay, cool, right? That makes sense. But I should never see there should never be like an offensive coordinator position for like Fresno State that ever shows up again. If that was my prowess, if the logic works correctly, and that was my problem with this.
You got to think about the Chip Kellys and the Eric Bieniemys of the world who don't want to coach,
and that's fine. But
and those guys, well, Eric Bieniemy is a lifer assistant coach or coordinator, but you got people running around. Oh, you think of not Bill Polian, Bill. Oh man, he was with the Patriots, and he was there in Alabama with Coach Sark.
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien.
But the thing about Bill O'Brien, Tim, is Here's the thing about like Bill Self, like Eric Bieniemy and those guys. How
Yeah.
many of those guys exist? Not many. So if you're looking at the logic,
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
if you're looking at the logic, right? Like
Mhm.
I get what you're saying, but that's the like really like the 5%,
Yeah, you're right.
right? And then you're looking at this game and you're saying the goal is to progress. There needs to be an end game or an end goal to a franchise or a dynasty mode, so you can go do another one and do it all over again, right?
Right,
The
right,
goal for EA is replayability, right?
right.
So if you're saying now, if you purposely choose to be a lifer coordinator, fair enough. But if
Right.
we're looking at like the 95, 96%,
Yeah,
they're wanting to build programs and move on.
right.
And so you've got to build the game with that logic in mind, right?
Okay.
So, and that's why I'm very curious to see like the rebalancing of this. I think there's a lot of rebalancing logic that's happening this year, and I'm very excited to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
But anyway, trophy room. I want to say I don't want to spend too much time on this quickly because it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that the way they designed the trophy room is super cool.
Yeah.
It is a dynamic trophy room, basically meaning at any point and any time you can go into the trophy room and it will keep all of your accolades across all your dynasties, which I thought was sick.
Yep.
So I think in the old games, it was like each dynasty had a trophy room, right?
Right.
But like here, it's like you have a trophy room across the entire game.
Yep.
And it keeps track of it in every single mode. So if I were to go start a dynasty today with Texas, which spoiler alert, I will because I'm going to go win a national title with Arch because that's going to happen, right? But then I go do another dynasty mode with Oregon State.
Yeah.
I won't have to do two separate trophy rooms because all that progress is tracked on the same trophy room. I thought that was awesome.
That's fantastic.
Phenomenal change.
It's fantastic, especially if they keep the dates and the stats of the games that were played.
Yep.
That would be even better. I think having that, because I'll be completely honest with you, in the dynasty that we've been playing in, I won 2 national championships. I don't know what years I won the national championship.
And you guys are in like what, year 8, year 9?
Year 9.
Yeah.
I don't remember what. I don't know what. Like I would have to look at. I would have to look at the. Oh shoot! I would have to go and look at the stats.
Yeah.
And look at the coaching history. You know, where you sign like your coach contract. I would have to look at that to see exactly what happened because I don't remember. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think this is super, super cool. I love the dynamic trophy room. Again, they built on and this foundation for the trophy room is going to build something cool for next year, right?
Yep.
I thought this was a phenomenal creation of this. And this is just kind of like the thing. It's like they really thought about like how is this going to be immersive and how can we build on top of this next year? And I just like the little things. Like if you look at Notre Dame right here, Sark, it has 11 here. So there's probably like 11 trophies inside of this, right?
Right.
Super, super cool. Love the trophy room. Obviously, there's not a lot in here to like talk about, but I love the trophy room. Love the implementation of this.
Yep.
And how it like kind of keeps
individual awards.
Yeah.
That like, oh man.
And I think the Maxwell and the there's another one that's like officially in the game now.
Okay.
I can't remember, but there's 2 like official trophies now in the game, licensed in the game, which is cool. So I imagine they're going to continue to build on top of that.
That's awesome.
Build your program. Don't care about this. I'll talk about the transfer portal because I thought this was also broken in this year's game.
Yep.
Obviously, this is probably like the second most important thing in college football, minus recruiting.
Yep.
And you can almost put like recruiting 1A and portal 1B. I do like this change right here where they, the authentically unpredictable, forcing tough decisions around retention, roster construction. 2,000 players enter the portal every single year. I think this is a great change.
Yep.
I also think deal breakers. I mean, you guys can go reading about that. I don't want to go too deep into that because that's already been in the game, but they expand on it. Actually, I do want to talk about deal breakers. They talk about like the ever evolving change of like people.
Yes.
The one thing I want them to do, and they talked about how like guys' expectations can go up.
Right.
You know what they don't talk about, Tim?
What's that?
How come they don't ever talk about guys' expectations coming down?
Okay, I see what you. Well,
Here's the thing, right?
give me an example. Give me a quick example.
What if, because there's talking about using like stats in the game to like determine these things, right?
Right.
What if your deal breaker is playtime,
Okay.
right? And you get playtime at your current school, but you're not performing. Why should you have an A+ deal breaker at playtime anymore if you're not performing?
Oh.
Why wouldn't it be a B?
Ooh.
If we're talking about the immersion, like
Right.
this is probably a next year thing, right? Like my deal, or maybe it's a patch in the game this year. I shouldn't just be able to say, oh man, I'm doing really, really well. I'm now going from a B to an A, or I want to go play for a championship contender. I'm now going from a B to an A for championship contender.
Right.
What if I'm not doing well? My team's not playing well. Why should my championship contender still be an A? Maybe my expectations need to be like, I need to go to like a B school, a B championship contender school. So it's like my expectations as a player should come down.
That's a totally different game, brother.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying though, right? Like when you talk about building this game, and they built a great foundation of deal, I think this is phenomenal, right?
Mhm.
But if we truly want deal breakers to be deal breakers and they have this section about evolving expectations, then they should truly evolve.
Right.
Like my expectation should be a rotating door. Nico Iamaleava, he thought he was big boy on campus, right?
Right.
He thought he should get more NIL money. He decided to transfer to UCLA, so he thought he was going to ask for more NIL money and transfer to a more, prominent school than Tennessee. He ends up at UCLA. Why? Because his expectations were too high when they should have been lower, because he didn't perform for Jack on the field. So his like branding was probably like A+, but in reality it should have been from like B+ to like C. You know what I'm saying though? But like,
Yeah.
and I thought it was so funny that they used Nico, but yeah, you should, but then you can use stats where it's like maybe you had A+ pro potential, but then you were a 5-star, right? And you got 200 carries, but you only got 500 yards. Then your pro potential should go down to a B or a C.
Yeah.
And you should be easier. And you might have been a 5-star recruit,
Right.
but you're probably a 4-star transfer portal recruit.
Ooh.
But if we're truly trying to like be immersive in this game,
Yeah.
like that's what should be happening. And I'm hoping we get, maybe that's a next year thing, or like I hope we get there to this, because then if we get there, this will be amazing.
Yeah.
But I do like these changes.
Yeah.
And I also love the customization of the transfer portal. I think the being able to allow the commissioner or you to control how the portal works.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. Amazing.
Yep.
So love this change as well. You can adjust like how many guys can transfer per team. You can like the likelihood of guys transferring on user control teams. I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
The probability of computer team, and the same thing, right? The probability of guys on users and on non-user teams. Excellent change. I thought that was a beautiful change. My school, the only thing on my school I want to call out.
Okay.
I like that they're using actual in-game stats for this.
Yeah, that's dope.
I thought this was cool. Like they brought in so many different stats. I think it was like rushing yards per game, passing yards per game, even like defensive yards allowed per game, running, touchdowns, all those like statistical things.
Right.
Average passing yards, rushing yards allowed. Like again, they built a foundation of this last year, and they're building on top of that foundation. Like look at this line right here. It says, we've also made improvements to playing style, the stat-driven grade tied to how your team performs on the field. including the ones that added College Football 26, has its playing style tracking reevaluated. Last year, many defensive player types were overly reliant
Right.
on interceptions and tackles for loss, often leading to a small sample skew. This year, more player types, especially on defense, evaluate team level stats like average passing yards allowed or rushing yards allowed per game. And I think this should play into play style, right? Like if I have a high play, if I'm a running back and my rushing yards per game is really, really high, then technically my play, and I'm a running back that believes in playing style, then that should factor in to say that, oh, wow, this actually does matter, right? But if I'm a running back and my deal breaker is playing style and you're averaging 50 yards rushing per game, then you're not hitting my deal breaker. Like, that should matter, but then that could change, right? Like, you could say you're out, but then you're back in if you go to like 120 rushing yards or whatever.
Yeah.
So, ever evolving game, ever evolving expectations. That is a theme, and I think I hope this works the way it does. You're the recruiting guy. Do you want to talk about location-based recruiting? I thought this is another really cool change.
Yeah. So basically, to give you guys a kind of a quick overhead of it. So basically, in 25, you can pretty much recruit however you want it. You can recruit freely. And that's how it's been majority of the game. Where they've changed things to where, let's say you're at a small school, you're at an Appalachian State. I'm just using that because that's where I started out. Start out at Appalachian State. You go a year, you do okay. You maybe lose 2 or 3 games. You get a bowl game, you get a bowl game victory. Well, in that process of you recruiting, they have made it to where it is harder for smaller schools to recruit across the country. So you would now have to spend more to recruit across the country versus recruiting in home or in your area to bring prospects in. Now, the chances of me in a situation where I'm in Appalachian State, the chances of me going across the country, that player has to be significantly special just because I'm in the Southeast. Am I the biggest school? No, but you being in that area alone is really, really good. So if you happen to come across a Dylan Raiola type guy, I'm just throwing him out there because, California, well, he's from Georgia, but anyway, if he was from California and you say, oh, Dylan Raiola is nobody's really recruiting him, let me go and recruit him, it's going to cost more.
Right.
It's going to cost more for your visits. And it really puts in perspective like how you want to go about recruiting for your team needs versus your wants. Now, if you happen to have a big school like a Texas, like an Ohio State, then this does not apply to you. This makes it more interesting because from a team standpoint, am I going to waste my points and trying to get this one recruit out of California all the way to the East Coast, the Southeast? Or am I going to stay within the region? I'm going to recruit heavily with the guy that I know he wants to come to my school. I'm on his board, and he might not be as great as the other player, but he still can contribute to my team. It's going to make things very, very interesting, and I like that because you can't just go in and just start nagging and snagging all these different recruits from all over the country and you're Louisiana Tech.
Right.
You got to win something to get to that point. You got to put in the points to get to that point, in your coaching tree. So, and that also makes a big deal for recruiters too, and who you pick as a recruiter. All of this stuff ties in together. It's a big deal. And again, I feel like I'm rambling, but this is a really dope opportunity for people that play in dynasty with multiple people because now it's in a situation like you need to know where you want to pick your school. You need to know where you want to recruit. You need to know about how much you have available to recruit with so that you don't waste it on people that may not even end up at your school because it's too far away.
Yeah.
So That's very good. We can move on.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's super cool. Obviously, shout out Texas. Thank you, EA, for using Texas because we are the lifeblood of college sports, so we appreciate it. Yeah, this is a great example, right? So Gabe over here, Gabe Blaylock. Shout out to Gabe Blaylock, Blacklock, actually, whoever he may be. Shout out to him. If Texas wanted to go to California and schedule a visit, it would cost more to bring him to Texas than it would from a guy from Texas, right? Like Wellington. Tim, do you know where Wellington, Texas is?
No, I don't. I actually do.
But I'm pretty sure it's a drive for Nicky Marshall here, right? Well, so 15 points to bring this 4-star should be cheaper than 40 points to bring Mr. Blacklock from California, right? Like these visits, they should be dynamic. I think this is, again, super cool change. Yeah. But I think they set it up really, really well with the great foundation last year. Very curious to see how this goes. I don't know what that is. Okay, did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. Man, Wellington is in West Texas. West Texas.
Oh, of course, good old West Texas. Okay, that was really weird. I don't know what that was. But I think that's super, super cool. I think like this is how it should work. But then I also think to help maximize, again, if you invest in your skills, you can gain an advantage, right? The CEO archetype now includes a new ability, more the merrier. This ability doubles the number of players who can visit your campus in a single week. Super, super awesome change.
Awesome.
Again,
that is awesome.
Taking advantage of building, that's why your class will matter. If I have been, a recruiter, an elite recruiter for an extended amount of time, I should have advantages of doing that over time.
Right.
And being able to bring 8 guys for a visit, especially if they're all in state and they all only cost 15 points.
Right.
I should be able to take advantage of that.
It would give you, it should actually give you more momentum to build locally.
Which it should. Like, that's the point, right? Like, Sark has a distinct advantage as a recruiter than, when he recruits the state of Texas, than Lane Kiffin, for example. Right. Like, but he should have that advantage. Like, it should be that way.
And it should be the other way around for Lane in his state.
Right. If Lane wanted a 5-star guy in Mississippi, the only one that's there every 5 years, like he should have the advantage to get that guy. Yeah. By the way, I think we actually did get a 5-star out of Mississippi. Shout out to Lane Kiffin. So funny, Tim Wayne. We did.
Yeah. No, you have the shots that you take. First off, you said Mississippi. You said Mississippi has a 5-star that comes out of their state once every 5 years.
Besides, since the guy we got, who's the last 5-star out of Mississippi you know about?
I don't know.
Exactly. So it might even be more than 5 years. I don't know. I don't pay attention to Mississippi football. But I'm just saying. But anyway, recruiting battles have returned. I think this, again, you're bringing back an old feature.
Yep.
A lot of guys, well, why wasn't this in last year's game? Dude, like, they can't bring everything back in one game. You only have a certain amount of time.
If you bring everything back in one game, you put it in one game, how do they
and it doesn't work. You're like, why did they broke this?
How did they sell the next game?
Well, it's not even about that. Let's just say they brought all this stuff back last year, right? Half of it was broken. What are they going to say? They rushed this game. The EA tried to do too much.
And to be fair, and I don't know if you've heard this, but a lot of people are saying this is the greatest college football game ever of all college football games.
College football 25?
Yes.
Yeah, easily. It's easily the best college football game ever.
Which I'm not here to argue that. My favorite NCAA is going to be NCAA 05. But
it's better than that. Like my favorite was before this college football 25 was NCAA 06.
Okay.
And while I think it still had some shortcomings, right? Yeah. And I understood why those shortcomings. the
They didn't have
cost
the technology.
the cost to make college football 06, the budget for that game was probably like $100,000.
You think
Right.
so?
Oh yeah, dude, games on the PS2. People used to pump out games on the PS2 and Xbox like in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, right? Now obviously it took a little bit longer than that, but like
Right.
the budgets and the costs to build a game weren't that high.
And they were using a lot of the same models from different games, so it's not like they had to.
Right, the foundational stuff.
Right.
On average, I was told. I looked this up. Actually, I looked this up. On average today, how much do you think it costs to make a video game?
$3 million.
For an indie studio, on Series X, right? The
Yeah.
average cost to make a video game is about let's see. Wait, what?
What?
Oh, hold on a second.
Okay.
Let's see. Cost to make a. Okay. Sorry about that. For an indie game, right? About $500,000. Just that's an indie game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
A AAA studio, on average, is anywhere from $50 million on up.
50?
Yes. On average. Estimated development cost. Average development cost ranges. An indie game, like a small team, or if it's just like a digital game, $500K to $5 million.
Right.
Right. A double A game, like mid-size physical release, is probably like $5 million to $20 million. A blockbuster title, like your Battlefield, your Call of Duties, your Madden, your FIFAs,
Right.
the minimum average is $50 million.
Man. Learn something new every day.
And that, like, here's an example, right? Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh,
How much do you think it costs to make that game?
probably about $100 million.
$300 million.
Oh my god! And that game was a dud when they first came out.
But then they built it over time, right? Like by the time that was just that was just development costs. People don't figure in like it costs money to fix something that's broken.
Right.
Like it's not just like, oh yeah, go fix this code. No, you have to like get it approved. Like there's a budget even within the game's life cycle. You only have a certain amount of time because you have to move on to the next game. So you have to figure out as a project manager what's the most important thing to, as the producers have to figure out what's the most important thing to fix.
Yep.
If we want to do this, now then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I want to add this really cool feature, but dang, recruiting is broken. I now have to spend money to go fix that thing. Right. And I have to bring in more people to fix that. So I don't have time to go build this new thing.
Right.
I've lost all that time. Right. People don't realize like how expensive and how like hard it is to build a game. It's always like, well, you know, you could like change this screen to purple. It's so simple to do. No, it's not. It's not simple. It's not only is it not simple, it's not easy to plan that out. It's not easy to understand. Like there's so much, and this is why I just don't talk about like, and I've learned a lot being in the SaaS industry and like understanding how that stuff works out. Like it's not easy. It's not just an overnight decision that occurs. So, but anyway, I digress. But I think recruiting battles, I'm glad it's back. I think it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be very interesting to see how this plays out. I'm gonna be honest with you, Tim.
What's up?
I don't think we have enough time to get. We only got through half of this.
Yeah, I mean,
We're our end. So
we need to stop right here. We can continue on next week, dude. It's at that point we're like right there.
Yeah.
At that, you know, that's the weekend before the game comes out. We can continue on.
Yep. Yeah, we'll do that. But real quick, the only thing we wanted to talk about first off is toughest places to play.
Oh my God! Yes, please. Yes, let's cover this.
You wanted to talk about this. What were you thinking when you saw this?
I thought that there was some. I thought that there was some real weird. There was some SEC bias in there. now.
Yeah, I still see it.
Yeah, it's definitely some SEC bias in there. Do I think Texas was treated fairly? Yeah, I think they're. I think
I think
they're.
their team's fine. Yeah.
I think they're fine. They might have given them a little bit too much credit, but over the last couple of years, it's definitely been louder than it has been. Um, but
No, that Georgia game was electric.
yeah,
The Texas Georgia game was electric, right? And no, I think 11 is fair. Now, had Texas won that game,
Oh, it probably would have been went crazy.
that would have been nuts, right?
Right,
Had Texas won that game, that would have been nuts.
right.
So, yeah,
I
let's look at this real quick.
personally believe that Georgia was ranked too high. Number 4.
Well, I don't think we know what it's like to play at Georgia yet. We'll find out this year.
I don't know what it's like to play at Georgia. However, what I do know is I've watched many of Georgia games, and they never factor in anything about how loud it is in that stadium
Yeah,
at all. For them to put Georgia over Clemson, I think is insane. For them to put Alabama over Clemson, I think is insane. I think Clemson should be in the top 5. I think Florida should be right behind Clemson. And I think they also are not giving Oregon
I was just about to say.
and Michigan any credit. They need to be higher
What?
than they are.
Yeah, I was about to say, what in the world ever in life has Oklahoma ever done to be the 8th most toughest places to play? And YK, thanks for the likes on the TikTok. We appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate it.
I need to get better at that. I'm sorry.
It's gonna take time.
But-
Notre Dame at night is underrated. They don't give Notre Dame at night enough credit. Michigan State definitely needs to be up higher because Michigan State and the goddamn Cowboys drive me insane. Dude, they do it all game.
Is Michigan? Is it Michigan State or is that Mississippi State?
Mississippi State, my bad.
Is that the ones with the Cowbells?
They do the cowbells. Yes.
You know who else is on here that I just think makes no sense?
Who?
Florida State. My guy, you won 2 games at home, 1 game at home last year, and this is where like the bias comes in. It's like, oh, we know Florida State. That's not what this place was last season.
Yeah.
They probably aren't even top 50.
Yeah. Ooh.
I think Autzen Stadium is like number top 5. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Autzen Stadium is great.
I think Autzen Stadium's 5.
I've seen and heard nothing but amazing stories about people that have gone to Autzen Stadium, and
Yeah.
one of the things that they talk about is how loud it is. Dude, they made ESPN last year because of how loud they were with the baby.
Weren't they like the cameras rattling or whatever?
Dude, not only were the cameras rattling, they had that one situation with the cameras, but they also had that one situation where they had they were doing I don't know you know how you go to a sporting event and they'll do crowd participation in between plays or in between TV timeouts and stuff like that. Dude, they made national news because they were so loud for a baby. They put a baby on the screen and they started cheering for the baby, and then they would put somebody else and they would start booing, and then they put the baby back on the screen, and it was so loud, dude. It was so loud and clear, and the baby had on headphones because they got young ears. You don't want to mess their ears up.
Yeah.
But I think EA did this on purpose. I'm not mad at it, but I think the swamp, bro. Even when they're bad, that the swamp is
The
intimidating.
swamp is insane, and we go to the swamp this year, so we'll see how insane it is.
Exactly.
But please take Oklahoma off this list.
Who do you-
Kyle
I don't
Field.
think it's not that they don't deserve to be
No,
on
they
the
don't be
list.
on this. No. Just because you beat Alabama at home by 25 points doesn't mean you're the 8th toughest place to play at. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. That is no. You lost half of your games at home last year. You're not a tough place to play. I'm sorry. And Kyle Field, nobody's afraid to go to Kyle Field. They couldn't even score a touchdown on their own home field against us. It's not the 11th best place to play.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. They couldn't do it.
All right.
like the basis of how this list. I'm really curious to the logic behind this list
Yeah.
because half these places wasn't NC State like a team that was like 6-7 last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are they the 22nd best place to play? Oklahoma State won one game last year. What makes Boone Pickens Stadium so hard to go to?
Dude, the sticks, man. The slapping on
I
the
don't care. They won one game. This is what drives me wild about these lists. It's like the atmosphere. Just because the atmosphere is going to be nuts, I get it. That doesn't mean it's hard. If teams are going into your house and dog walking you by 40, I don't care if there's rattlers there, right?
Right.
It's not hard to play at.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's just not that difficult.
I don't know,
It's
man.
just not.
I think they did this to get exactly what they wanted out of us, which is a reaction.
You got it at it for me.
They got it. They got it because I do think that this half of this list is bogus. I definitely feel that there are some teams that should be moving down, and I definitely believe there's some teams that should be moving up.
Yeah.
So
This list is trash to me. Also, if you can't score a touchdown against your rival on your home field, you're probably not even in the top 50 toughest places. To play.
all right.
Sorry, A&M.
Yikes.
I'm clipping that. I'm putting that on TikTok. Look out for that. I'm gonna go find that comment, that quote. If you cannot score a touchdown on your own home field, it is not a tough place to play against your rival. Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Man.
Anyway, that's all I had to say.
Interesting. Well, we'll be able to talk about more of that
That's all I got, man.
next week.
Yeah.
As we get closer to the game coming out.
Yep.
We definitely have some recruitment news which we broke on TikTok. So for the people there, make sure that you tune into TikTok. Shout out to the people that are in the TikTok that came by. I was in
Yeah,
there
we
for
appreciate it.
moments. I did see some people come by and stop by and like drop off some hearts.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that because that helps us a lot. We've only done this a few times, so we're still trying to get used to it. We're still trying to understand it and work the ins and outs of that. So we appreciate that. Did you happen to have anything that you wanted to close out with in regards to the game?
No, we'll continue. We'll finish this out next week,
Yeah.
and we'll have the RTG and the Ultimate Team deep dive as well, which I don't mind. We can touch on them if we want to. But shout out to those of you guys, all 15 of you that showed up in the TikTok live, 380 likes. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll be back next Friday or not? No, next Thursday. We'll
Yep.
try to go a little bit earlier so that we can try to see how much we can cover.
Yep.
But we're like basically like almost like a week and a half away from the game from coming out, like 11 days.
11 days. Yep.
So
Game comes out next Sunday, technically.
yeah. So well shoot, we're less than 11 days. We're like 8 days in that
Yeah.
in that instance. So, but we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Tim, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Tim Wayne on Twitter. You can also find me at Longhorn Fan Battle on Twitter and on TikTok. Shout out to the people on TikTok. Appreciate the love. Man, shout out to the people again that showed up in the live tonight. Even if you stopped by for a second or two, just to kind of see what's going on, we do appreciate it. Man, there isn't anything else really that I have. I'm just excited, man. We're getting a game again. That signifies a lot, right? We got your birthday coming up. We got another year of us being focusing directly on the Longhorns and all things Longhorns. And then, dog, like football is right there. You know,
right there. We're about to sniff it.
We get to see new Longhorns in the top league in the country, in the world, in the NFL. We get to see how they perform. Both of us have Longhorns that are on our favorite NFL team, so we get to see how they do. I'm really hoping Overshown makes a really good comeback. I'm really hoping that he is getting healthy because he clearly is a special player
Yep.
and is going to be a freak of nature in this league if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that you got AD Mitchell getting ready to go into a sophomore season. The quarterback situation is a little iffy out there right now, but
Listen,
that's a
you
bright.
just,
The receiving
you,
core is a bright spot for you.
you just watch out for 10 TD AD this year. That's what I'm calling him. 10 TD AD.
Who?
10 TD AD.
Who is that?
AD Mitchell. He's going to get 10 touchdowns. 10
Oh,
TDs. AD.
see, you ran that together. I thought you were saying Tim.
10. 10.
10,
No,
10.
10 TD AD.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And man, football is right there, dog. It's so close.
So close.
It's so close.
You know what? This year has actually gone by really fast.
June. Listen.
Usually like the first half of the years are like really slow in my opinion.
Usually the first half of the year sucks, especially like right after football. Like right after that, you get the NBA playoffs. You get pitchers reporting for baseball.
Yep.
Then and like that push to get into the playoffs, unless your team is in it, it's kind of boring. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you're an NHL fan, the NHL playoffs come back around. But like for me, dude, it was. Listen, I'm not gonna go off on a tangent. We don't have to say this, but I'm just gonna say this on the record, for the record. This year, the NBA alone was probably one of the weakest playoffs I've seen ever. Everybody got injured. People were getting traded away that should not have been traded away. You didn't have any big market teams in the NBA finals, which is a first time in a long time. And again, I'm not opposed to small market teams winning the whole thing. I'm not opposed to that. But did you see that parade in OKC, Harish?
No, didn't care.
It was terrible.
I bet it was. Didn't care.
It was nobody there. It was like 100 people there that called off, and they was probably just stuck in traffic, so they got out of their cars. But other than that, like, it's right there. And college football is going to get us over the hump.
Can I tell you something? I'll say two things. Up until Tyrese Halliburton got hurt, that was actually a really good finals. Like the matchup was, and I knew the matchup was going to be really good because OKC has a really good defense, and Indiana had a really good offense. I knew it was a great matchup. Up until, and if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't get hurt, I think Indiana wins that game. Because
he was going off. He was on fire. He had 9 points by the time he got hurt. He was on fire.
And he was driving probably for another two, or a dish, right?
He was on fire that game.
Also, if the Mavericks stay healthy, OKC doesn't even make the finals. So, listen, OKC has never beaten a healthy Mavs team. They haven't. This core of OKC players hasn't beaten the They haven't beaten the Mavs in the playoffs when they were healthy.
Man, but that's the thing.
And now they have to go run into Cooper Flag next year.
Hey, man.
Who on OKC is scoring on Cooper Flag, AD, and Derek Lively in the paint?
I don't know.
No one. And they're not a very good three-point shooting team.
Well, we will see because, basketball starts up as soon as you fart. So it'll be back in no time. It's about to be July. They'll be starting up the season back in October. So it's like, it's not that far away.
But the season doesn't start for us till January. So because that's when Kyrie gets back. We will know what this team is when Kyrie gets back. If Kyrie and AD and Derek Lively stay healthy, I think the Mavs win the next.
Oh, did you hear about the rumor about Chris Paul potentially being picked up by the Mavs until
There's rumors of Chris Paul, D'Angelo Russell.
D'Angelo Russell, I like that.
I do too. I actually kind of like. I actually like if they go get like a free agent. I kind of want D'Angelo Russell. I actually think he makes them more dynamic.
Right. And he plays defense.
Correct. Which Nico loves defense apparently.
Yeah.
So, but when Kyrie comes back, if this team can stay healthy, I think they win the West next year.
Ooh, okay.
There's not a team. I mean, hell, if they would have stayed healthy this year, they would have won the West. Even after the Luka trade.
Possibly. Yeah, because they were on a roll for a little bit.
They were the 2 seed until Luka got hurt.
Right.
Until Luka and Derek Lively got hurt. People forget they were like, I think like their starting 5 from this year only lost 4 games. They were like 18-4 or something crazy like that.
Wow.
And they beat the Thunder twice. And when Kyrie was healthy, they beat the Thunder once without Luka. The Thunder are not beating a healthy Mavs team. I'm telling you that right now. This Thunder team, they probably had the easiest road to the finals. Because they played a bunch of teams that were hurt too.
Yeah, for sure. Both teams did. Both teams benefited from injury. Unfortunately, the Pacers, like they suffered.
They also suffered, right? And I get it. Luck is a part of these
be out for a whole year.
Yeah. Luck is part of these things too. Like I get it. I understand, right?
Yeah.
Like there's also luck involved when you go on runs like this. I completely understand. Whether that's the draw you get, an injury happens unfortunately in a series, you're able to hit 4 game-winning shots within, 3 rounds. Like luck plays a factor. I get it.
Yeah.
But at the same token, that doesn't mean you can't say, well, you can't play the what-if game.
Yeah.
Because I don't think either of these teams make the finals if we're talking about a fully healthy, playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But anyway, you can find me at the Uncle Gandhi. Find me at LH Fan Battle. Find us both on TikTok.
Yep.
Longhorn Fan Battle. Another big recruiting weekend. I found a recruiting calendar. Shout out to on Texas. I'm gonna go find that. I'm gonna post. I'm gonna use that and create a commitment calendar because we got a bunch of commits coming up. I actually think we have one. We have one tomorrow. Let me go see if I can find it. I think it was on Texas. Here we go. Yep. We have one to. I don't know Xavier Crowell I don't know if he actually committed. But tomorrow's Chase Calicut. It's also Malachi Lee. It's also Damari Simeon.
Oh my God.
And then Sunday is Xavier Griffin, 5-star. I think this is the linebacker. Yep. So within the next 5 days, actually, let's go look at Xavier Crowell because if he committed to Texas, we have a graphic to make.
Man.
I think he went to and committed to Georgia.
Oh.
Yeah, Alabama.
He went to Alabama?
Yeah. It says free my daddy. I don't know what that means. It's kind of creepy. But
what?
Yeah, it says free my daddy. That was a quote that he gave.
All right. Let's just kill this right now. Free my dad.
I don't know what that means. I know
what he means. Free my dad. Like his dad is locked up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know what that has to do with Alabama, but shout out to Alabama for getting him. But yeah, lots coming up on the Texas front. So keep in check here. We'll get you all the information, get it out there on all the platforms. But until then, my name is Harish. This is my guy, Tim Wayne. We out of here. Peace.
Till Gabriel.